and welcome! This is brand new Westmouth Live in the Vin Library, and today we are starting a shiny new book. Look at the cover there. It looks adorable. It's called Each Little Universe by Chris Durston. I'm very excited to read it. I'll tell you what the author told me when we were talking and how they kind of sold me their book. 1 second. I need to get it up. You know, I should have these things planned already, but why would I do that? Each Little Universe is about a girl from the stars meeting a pair of struggling inventors who teach her how to be human. Sounds good, right? I love, like, things like that where it's, like, people discovering humanity. I love that kind of stuff. So that's why I decided to pick this one. Hello, everyone. Hello, Void. Hello, Boris. Hello, Scarlet Silver Iron. Hello, Lucas. Hello, Jabba Hop. And Void, to answer your question, I actually did try to, not quite like full-on trading cards, but I did try to make like cards for Moon Girl. There wouldn't have been any kind of battle for it, but it would have just been a picture and like some stats on the back. I literally did try to make some at one point, but they are hard to make. At least hard to make look professional when you don't have professional tools. Other than that, once more, money. The usual. Yeah. So, Each Little Universe. I don't know how prevalent cats are going to be in this. I'm hoping they're fairly prevalent. Also on the cover, you can't quite see it where I've got it. 1 second. Please select the cover. OBS. There we go. There's also a D20 at the bottom here. And yes, Void, I know you'd buy them, but I don't know how many other people would buy them. Therefore, I don't know if I would make a profit. Therefore, it might not be worth the risk because, you know, I kind of need to make the money back. That's the problem. Business. You're one of the few people in the world who've actually bought Moon Girl products. But anyway, should we get to it? I would normally have like a summary to go through and stuff like that, but I don't because it's a shiny new book. So let's start reading it. Oh, the copyright stuff, very important. It's fictional, just so you know. It's fictional. Hi, Rahel. Welcome. Also, other works we can get. I was offered 3 different books by this author, but this is the one that appealed to me the most. But if we do get into a pickle, we could always read more of their books if we enjoy their writing. As we've done. This is another person we've had 2 different books on. But I met the characters in this book, though, Brony. You met the characters in Each Little Universe? That's wonderful. Are they nice? Okay. And as you can see, this is more of a scrolly thing, because I was sent a PDF, so we are reading it on a PDF rather than an EPUB. Which I normally would. I thought that was a mark on my screen for a minute there. I thought this was a mark, but it's not. It's not. It's fine. My screen is clean. Yeah, they're nice. Totally non-fiction. Oh my gosh. Wonderful. I'm glad they're nice. I look forward to reading about their stories. So that's the contents. The part 1 before, part 2 after, and part 3 a bit more after. Which I love. I love. Part 1, before. The Octobike. Octobike, said TM firmly. Veggie digested this for a moment. Octobike. Octobike. Veggie withdrew the spoon he had been absently swirling around his mug of tea and tapped it against his jaw, leaving watery brown droplets collecting on his chin. I don't follow. TM groaned. All right, hear me out. I thought I was hearing you out. And proficiently, too. Okay, fine. So, get this. TM spread his hands wide, fingers splayed and bobbed his palms with each syllable for emphasis. Octo, Veggie nodded. Bike. Octo Brainy? No. I love how the prologue has been shortened to before. That's not even the prologue, that's just half the book. Veggie considered the prospect. His head turned to one side, then the other, considering the suggestion with all the weight and magnitude it deserved. He looked around the little cafe, taking in its gaudy plastic tables and the offensively neutral walls. He looked at TM, then up at the heavens. Octobike, he said eventually. Octobike, come on, Veg! TM plonked his elbow down on the table between them, then rested his chin with what he hoped was compelling exasperation in his palm. Bike, trike, skip a few steps. Octobike! Ta-da! Next big thing, 100% guaranteed! Why is VeggieTales and Taskmaster in this book? I have no clue. But Octobrainy can drink tea and read 2 books at the same time, though. If Octobrainy is anything like Normal Brainy, then Normal Brainy does not have the capacity to read 2 books at the same time. However, it would be nice to be able to hold open the books and drink tea at the same time. That is always a giant pain in the butt. I'm not sure I'm seeing it. Oh, for heck's fine. Just, okay, imagine a quad bike. Quad, 4 wheels. 4 flipping quad bike. Quad bike. Then double it. 2 quad bikes. Ah! TM blubbled. Head flopping forwards. I'm trying, Veggie protested, watching his friends suffer. It's not like the most easiest thing to visualize. Octobrainy has cool tentacles that's totally to be used in a non-weird way. Yes, no weird ways. Nope, this is not anime, and this is not, we do not know where this is going. It is all wholesome. And even if Octo just meant she'll have 6 arms and 2 legs, then that'd be... I didn't know you're into spider people, Lucas. Not a word, said TM, resurfacing and stretching out in his too small chair. Anyway, all that shows is your lack of imagination, which is in no way indicative of the definitely amazing future in which the Octobike takes the world by storm. Said Veggie. The two looked at each other in mutual exasperation for a moment, each curious as to what the other might say next, followed by the realization that neither actually had anything more to say on the topic. When I think of octopus, I think of that video of them opening and closing jars. Then I think about how I have trouble opening and closing jars. Octopus are terrifying in that way. I mean, they keep having to shut down octopus tanks and aquarium things because they keep finding ways to escape. They're really smart. It's terrifying. Muffet from Undertale awoke something in you. Spider Briny, I thought, yeah, I'd love a spidey sense that'll tell me when a tea gets cold. I would love that. That would be great. I need that superpower. Speaking of which, 1 second. My tea was starting to get cold. Said TM eventually, just so they wouldn't be staring silently at each other anymore. You got cash? Veggie plucked a 20 plucked a 20p piece out of his pocket and placed it on the table with pride. Oh my god, 20p. Like a checkers player making what he thought was a genius move. Yup. Amazing! You got this one, Veggie said, grinning. TM dug out a couple of pound coins from his back pocket. They were the old kind, the ones that had been out of circulation for a couple of years. I know which ones they mean. But beggars couldn't be choosers of the relative fancies of their coinage. He slapped them down next to Veggie's tiny heptagonal fortune, did a quick count, and nodded. That'll do. The two stood, feet of their chairs scraping against the floor with noise like a climber sliding painfully down a chalk cliff by their fingernails. Oh! That is a powerful simile right there. Hwah! Look, TM, said Veggie quietly, when the last echoes of the cacophony had faded. He pronounced it long. Tioma. Like a Texan saying Tam. Tam? Tam? Is that how they say Tim in Texas? In Texas. Tam from Texas. Veggie was one of those people who neither looked nor sounded hugely memorable. Average height, neither skinny nor big, mid-length brown hair, easily absorbed vocal tones that were neither unpleasant nor melodic, with an inoffensive accent that could be from anywhere on the British Isles. TM, on the other hand, was taller, leaner, with short hair and wide eyes, surrounded by neat lashes. It was not exactly striking, but more distinctive on paper. Yet somehow the real-life experience that was Veggie constituted one of the most magnetic phenomena TM had come across. Veggie himself claimed alternatively that it was down to either pheromones or hypnosis, both of which TM personally thought were probably BS. Whatever it was, his easy charisma regularly got them a long way. Yeehaw, Tim! They don't say Tim, they say Tammy. They say Tammy? Really? Everyone buy an octo bike until no bike shows up. I'm getting Only Fools and Horses vibes from these guys. It's not a bad idea, I think. Veggie tucked his chair neatly under the table, careful to lift his feet off the floor rather than scrape it along the ground. Still not clear what it actually is, but hey, sounds kinda cool. And that's like 90% of all the product design these days. We just need to, an actual thing. Something easy to market, patentable, quick sell, and we're done, right? Prototyping ain't exactly within budget right now. TM sighed. I know, he admitted. It's barely even a prototype of an idea for a prototype anyway. Listen, bud, said Veggie, in the sort of egregiously calming voice, employed primarily by burglars begging house-proud dogs not to bite them. Please. There might be a gap in the market for some sort of octobike type thing, probably, but we gotta build us in our brand, like, way up before we start thinking about doing something that big and niche. Can I make the text larger? All I can do is zoom in. Like I said, this is a PDF, so I could make the window a bit bigger as well. That will help you guys. Let's make it. Is that better? There we go. I hope that's okay. Tia moaned. I know. He sighed and half-heartedly picked up one of the pound coins from the table, then plunked it down again. The noise of the coin hitting the hard plastic surface made him feel like he actually had money to spend. Let's go. Veggie nodded, and they wandered out and under the dreary mid-January sky. There might have been no clouds in the grey heavens, or the whole thing might have just been one big one. It's England. It's one big cloud. It's one big cloud. TM crossed his arms in his thick-knit jumper. Veggie in a loud patterned shirt with sleeves rolled up over a loud patterned t-shirt with his sleeves rolled up over a loud patterned t-shirt with the sleeves cut off, flapped his hands around to ward off the cold. Anyway, said TM, as they headed for home, I reckon we might need to ditch the dogapult. Dogapult? Yeah, possibly, Veggie conceded, flexing his fingers a few times before stuffing his hands into his pockets. Maybe we really didn't think of what that actually involved. Maybe we need to stop trying to sell inventions based purely on the strength of the punny name. No, that's where the best inventions come from. I can't think of any right now, but I'm sure they do. I mean, catapult, dogapult, it doesn't even really make sense if you think about it. Maybe we need to keep trying to sell inventions purely on the strength of the punny name, Veggie countered. What if we're saying that what you're saying is that the pun wasn't good enough? I like the way Veggie thinks. It was hard to argue that something wasn't good enough. TM reflected. Their career, such as it was, depended on their ability to come up with useless inventions that people would, nevertheless, really want to buy, and then market those on the internet. They made their money, or more accurately, their business model specified that they made their money, through a system of investments made by faceless internet money spinners who would give them a bit of a cash injection in order to let them develop products in return for some of the profits when they got around to producing the things and selling them on their own online stores. It worked on paper. Punny names are easily marketable, yes. Not the paper on which was printed their financial accounts. No, definitely not that paper. That idiomatic sort of paper represented a beautiful and fantastical land in which ideas that worked in theory did, in fact, work. The cafe was a sort of it's not going as well as it is tradition, a tactic acknowledgement that things really needed rethinking and fast. I know there's an American Apprentice, but I've never watched it, so I'm going off the UK Apprentice. So when the UK Apprentice, when the losing team loses, there's always a clip of them in a shitty little cafe with like styrofoam cups and things like that. And that's what this reminds me of. Oh, I've cut you off a little bit. There you go. That's what that reminds me of. That is the not going so well thing, the shitty little cafe. Not my best idea anyway, TM admitted. I mean, even if it were humane and that, there's not many breeds of dogs small enough for what we were going for. Veggie gazed skyward. So, Brio kneecap armor. Hi, Tio, welcome. Brio kneecap armor. Brio kneecap armor. Ah, I get it. Yes. I think that was a wonderfully punny invention. Also, kneecaps are, very fragile and probably need armor. So I think it would sell. There's a market for that in the sports department of the world. I'm sure they need kneecap wear. And it just happens to be called the Brio kneecap. Veggie gazed skyward as they wandered. TM, though, he was probably ticking them off in his head. He agreed after a moment. They turned the corner, heading for home. The walk took them through the retail-oriented streets of the city, down past the arcade that had once housed independent shops but had now been remodeled into an urban hub for fine dining. Much to the skepticism of the locals, which had proven well-founded, when 3 of the 6 new restaurants had folded within the year, and into the quieter residential areas that were generally quite pretty, but often smelled a bit funky. You ever hear of Giordano Bruno? TM asked, trudging along beside his business partner and longtime best friend. Their footsteps beat on loose, syncopated. I don't know, I'm really bad. A rhythm against the pavement. Should I have? Probably not, TM said. He's dead. He's dead. Yeah, Brownie, I hate having my kneecaps on coffee tables. Exactly! Didn't someone ask that already? I think she said she might have it undiagnosed at this point. Do you pretend to have dyslexia? Again, I have not. I was never diagnosed with it. But, I mean, it's a chance of it, I guess. And it's as an adult, it's highly unlikely I'm ever getting diagnosed with it at this point. I don't even know how to go about getting a diagnosis for that. He had this thing about what it means for the universe to be infinite, right? TM watched Veggie's face. His friend raised his eyebrows by way of saying something to the effect of, "It may not seem like it, but I am paying attention, honest, albeit more because you're a mate than because I care." So it's like, if you stand at the edge and fire an arrow, then it's not the edge. You're terrible at explaining, Veggie declared. No wonder the Dogapole didn't get over. I'm relinquishing your title as head of marketing at Veggie TM Limited. You mean you can't ask the doctor how to test up for it when getting a checkup? Yeah, I got tested for dyslexia when I was younger too, but they didn't spot it. So I have no idea. No, dyslexia isn't something the doctors really cover for adults. I've literally Googled it. The doctors won't send you for an examination as an adult. They don't care. At least in the UK, and that's how it works. I've given it a Google. When I was younger, I got tested for dyslexia, then got diagnosed with dyslexia. Said, I did get tested. I just not yet diagnosed. So maybe I just suck. I don't know. I did not know that I was that. Well, now you're not anymore. Hang on. Anyway, TM spluttered, waving his hands around in hopes that Veggie would somehow derive something meaningful from the flapping appendages. If you stand at what looks like the edge of the universe, right, and shoot an arrow outwards, away from the middle. You know what outwards means, right? Veggie said. I looked at a geometry book once. Then either it keeps going, in which case you weren't really at the edge, or it hits a wall. And if it hits a wall, TM blubbed, trying to remember, then you can stand on the wall and shoot another one, and so on. Waste of arrows, Veggie opined, shaking his head. Hello, horny jail. I think everyone's safe here. There's no one who needs to go to horny jail, but it's always good to have a warden of horny jail around. Welcome. It's supposed to show the universe doesn't really have an edge, TM put out. Neither does a round thing. Veggie cupped his hands around an imaginary ball. Does too, just not corners. Well, that's a loss for the corners. Veggie scratched his nose. Is there a point to this? I might be exaggerating, but it's actually crazy how much text differs from what you read. I'm trying my best. This is why I can never read my own audiobook. Because I know I'd make too many mistakes. I try, but sometimes I fail. Thank you for the follow, Hearth Mule. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. I also think I did it. It's cut you off a little bit on my thing. So let me just. Harmeow. Welcome. Hey, Brownie, I've come up with something better than the Octo bike. The Brike. It's like a bike, but it dispenses tea whenever you get thirsty and exhausted. Sounds great. Go build it. Not really, TM said. I just thought it was cool. A knowable cosmos made even more knowable by mundane but mildly badass image, you know. This stream is so cozy. The sound of a fireplace or whatever is so relaxing. Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Horny Gel. It is a fireplace. It's behind me. Let me just get out the way. Look! Fire! It is cozy in here. Sounds like someone else talking, Veggie said, if you know what I mean. TM opened his mouth and closed it again. It's the sort of thing she might have said, I guess, he conceded. Are you kidding? Veggie demanded, giving TM a full force stare in the face. Veggie's stares were like being hit by a shovel made of charisma. It's like the only sort of thing she ever would have said. TM blinked. You gotta be less... Veggie rolled his head around on his shoulders a few times. Less than more now. You'll only get bummed out. Oh, hello, Kyogin. Welcome. Personally, you despise the fire crackling, but you've gotten used to it blocking it out. And many seem to find it relaxing. They do. Yeah, Void was the one that came up with that idea, weren't you? Sitting in front of... I know, it's really warm. I'm not gonna lie. I am a little stuffy. A little sweaty, but it's fine. This is fine. For you guys. Made s'mores at the fireplace. Then I want some. Nom 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 nom. Tasty. I'll definitely be stealing one. This is me now, TM said. I'm struggling to follow this a little bit sometimes. Veggie sighed and patted his friend on the head. I know, he said. I was right what's it after the whole Swede thing. The thing that sucked most about it was that even after getting rid of him, there were still bits of him floating around in my head. Stuff he'd have said, thoughts he'd have. You got better, TM said. Oh, heck yes, Veggie proclaimed, nodding regally. It all embetters once you've stuffed yourself full of pick and mix a few times. Brownie Rose sweaty. I better burn my finger if I touched your forehead. Wait, dang, that's internal temperature, not external. Probably cooking egg on my head. You're looking for songs to cover. We don't know how you ended up here. That is very strange to end up on a reading stream for song covers. Good luck with your findings of songs to cover. It all embedders once you've stuffed yourself full of pick and mix a few times. Anyway, we need to be focusing on people that happened and focus. We not... Bleh. God, I really can't right now. We're gonna do better. I am really struggling. We're gonna do better. Anyway, we need to be not focusing on people that happened and focus on making money, like now and stuff. Mood. TM sighed in agreement. What we need, said Veggie thoughtfully, is something simple. Really simple. Like cable tie simple. Cable tie. You know, those little do-whatsits. Bind cables together, attach guff to other guff. String up your uncounted helpless victims by the wrists. Oh, those. Point is, Veggie elaborated, showing and punching the pedestrian crossing as they approached the crossroads on the pavement, of which was a single wooden bench trying its best to pretend that the dirty intersection was somehow a view. It's like the most basicest thing. Much cost, like a billionth of a penny each to manufacture, I reckon. And I bet you can anything with that. The guy who came up with them is totally loaded. He was, but then he died, said the girl sitting on the bench. Oh, said Veggie. Right. Thanks. The basicest thing. Totally a word. But I kind of like that because people make stupid words all the time. So I like that there's a book that has stupid words. The crossing light flashed the green man at them, and they went a few steps out into the road before Veggie realised what had happened. Wait, he said, walking backwards until he was face to face with the girl. TM elected to simply turn around and walk back. The drivers who had been so rudely forced to stop at the lights made a few gestures at the ignominy of having stopped for someone who hadn't even been grateful enough to actually cross the road. What? Cable tie guy, said the girl. She had bright red hair, aggressively coiffed, thick, obtrusive neon eyeshadow, and a slim-fitting powder blue suit. A red lightning bolt painted from her hairline across one eye and onto her cheek. Marcus Logan died 2007. In 2007, so 2007, at aged 86. He was pretty well off, though. Well up to that point, obviously. I guess it probably didn't make too much of a difference to him after that. Am I the only one here struggling to figure out what these two are yapping about? I don't blame you. I feel like this is... Like I said, I'm getting very Only Fools and Horses, and... This is very British. This is very British. I'm the one asking what a customer if they want a Smarge lemonade. 1 minute. Oh. Veggie glanced sidelong at TM. Of all the things I thought might happen today, he said deadpan, being told the life story of Cable Tie Man by Ziggy Flippin' Stardust was like 7th, 8th at best. That is a pretty high for something so wild. You wouldn't happen to have any bright ideas for an invention that would make us equally loaded and slightly less dead by any chance? TM said to the girl, who stretched languidly on her bench and thought about it for a moment. Nah, she said eventually. She spoke, TM thought, as if she had... No, wait, did I... Oh, I completely lost where we are. I pressed a button I shouldn't have, and then... There we go, found it. I found it. I'm used to pressing a button and flipping the page. I'm not used to doing this on PDF. As if she could have been from just now, She spoke, TM thought, as if she could have been from just down the road or from thousands of miles away. I'm kind of new around here. I still reread the page and I'm still lost. Layman's, they're basically a couple of con men almost, basically. They're trying to think of ways to get rich quick scheme almost. So you thought you'd cosplay as the heckin' Starman fit in a bit better? Veggie demanded Veggie. I did a bit of research, she said, smiling faintly. Asked people what someone who came from the stars might look like. This is what I got. Not good? Why do you need to look like someone from the stars? TM asked. Honesty is the best policy, right? She ran a hand through her towering quiff. I thought it was best to be upfront about it. Oh, I like that. That's funny. Natch, said Veggie, would you give us a sec? He marched TM a few steps away, holding his partner by the upper arm. What's going on, TM? I got lost once the guy shot an arrow outside the edge of the universe. They're just bantering. He was literally just bantering about stuff. They were just chatting shit. But basically they're trying to come up with an idea that'll make them money. That's the long and short of it. What's going on? He asked with an air of helplessness. We're having a conversation with a nice lady, TM hazarded. This nice lady hijacked our conversation, gave us the lowdown on Mr. Cable Tie, and then said she was from outer space, Veggie amended. That the understanding you got from the situation too? Oh yeah, TM said. Something like that. Veggie bit the inside of his cheek, an unusually thoughtful expression which generally signified that he was considering doing something really dumb. She's smart, though, he said after a moment. I assume. Possibly. What do you... I don't know, maybe we could use her brain. For money. That sounds weird and very sketchy, said TM. Veggie had a keen glint in his eye, which TM knew all too well. This is one of those your idea that it is that makes no sense, but if it happened, you'd lock yourself in a room and listen to Mersbo for days, isn't it? Not sure yet, said Veggie, although she's kind of doing something for me. Early 70s Bowie is doing something for you? TM corrected accurately. And you've never met a person you didn't instantly both trust with your life and want to sleep with. Fair point, said Veggie, as he turned his back to the girl without further consideration. Hello again, she said, beaming. If you're from space, said Veggie curiously, where do you live? Oh, heck, said the girl. I hadn't thought about that. She folded her arms, slouching, then she sat sharply upright and looked eagerly from TM to Veggie and back again. Can I come live with you? Said TM. Absolutely, said Veggie at the same time. You can come hang out. TM hastened to correct him. Like, I don't know if you need somewhere to be for a bit. Sweet, the girl said, bouncing to her feet. Thanks, I like you guys. Then she turned. It was almost a hop and a spin rather than a step in a direction, marched merrily in the direction of TM and Veggie's flat. She knows where we live, TM whispered. Veggie ruffled TM's hair. It's fine, he said reassuringly. I'm sure this one encounter isn't going to define the rest of our lives. The lack of cats is upsetting, so I'm just going to imagine the alien girl as a cat girl. I did tell you I'm not sure how relevant the cats are. I'm not going to lie. Yes, using her brain for money. Helping high school students with their homework. Honest, that is a viable way to make money. That is viable. Problem is these two are too dumb to do that on their own. But her brain probably could. Hot bread. There's another cat. There better be in a cat soon. I do want to know when there's a cat. There's so many cats. I need to know. Thus, TM found himself bringing a strange girl back to the flat, which was unusual for him. Their tiny, extremely rubbish abode was leased under their business name, Veggie TM Inventors Incorporated. Nice place, the girl commented, as Veggie waded through the pile of bills, takeaway menus, and other assorted junk mail in the direction of the toaster. Thank you, Veggie acknowledged. I got bread, if you want hot bread. Toast. I say this, my boyfriend calls the way I like my toast hot bread, because I do kind of like it more warm and less crunchy. He reached the toaster, whereupon he leaned down and removed a few slices of bread from a cupboard filled mostly with instant noodles and sachet packets of ketchup stolen from fast food restaurants. Isn't it just called toast? The girl asked. Veggie shook his head firmly. Oh no, Ziggy, my friend, he reprimanded her. Living off toast is for people who haven't got their stuff together, but hot bread, that's the meal of kings, said every student ever. She sounds so gullible, almost as gullible as me. Briny. Okay, Void, here's some more tea out of the kindness of my heart, to be continued. Warm, but not crunchy. It sounds like microwaving it rather than toast. It's toasting it, but just not for very long. A warm bread is tasty. He busied himself at the toaster bread heater, TM reminded himself. I like this, she declared, plunking down on the floor. I think I might stay forever if that's okay. Bless her. TM picked up a couple of bills lying on the carpet and tossed them half-heartedly in the direction of the bin, which was mostly hidden under a pile of faded envelopes. He said. The girl sat there, cross-legged, in her blue suit. You don't have anywhere else to be? Nothing? Nobody to go home to? Nah, she said, gazing around the flat in all its cramped glory. The room contained all the essential components of a kitchen, a lounge, an office, and a dining room, and all in fewer square meters than would usually be afforded to a single one of them. Like I said, I'm sort of new. TM considered this. Am I the only one hung up on them being incorporated? Like, that can be a fair amount of paperwork. Am I just overthinking this again? I doubt they have the paperwork for it. I very much believe they have either faked the paperwork, done the paperwork incredibly badly, or when they were asked to do the paperwork, just said, no, it's just a name, we don't mean it like that. Or have never done paperwork in their lives, and that's just what they called it. TM considered this. I like the layout, by the way. she said, gesturing around. Her hand waved past the part of the flat that Veggie had termed the studying room, a wooden table, half of which was invisible under a pile of papers, stress balls, and other assorted stationery, and the other half which bore a Christmas-themed tablecloth and placemats which had been purchased in a January sale and not changed since. Pretty high item per square meter ratio. Bless. They probably just scribbled something on paper and it happened to pass. Yeah, exactly. That's a very nice way of saying more detritus than we can fit in our tiny-ass flat, TM said. Then he huffed. Then he sniffed. Veg? Am I having a stroke? No, said Veg, perfectly calm. That's the bread heater. The bread heater's just caught fire. Heck. Said TM. Aw, who's this? The girl said as TM flapped about. He looked down, following the direction of her pointing finger, and saw a black and white cat slinking over her crossed legs. Yay! The kitty has arrived! I repeat, the kitty has arrived! This is not a drill! The kitty has arrived! I got it, Veggie announced lazily, sauntering over to the table and snatching the seasonal tablecloth out from under the assorted debris like a magic trick. This is Michael Furcoat, the cat? Or Mitchell Furcoat, the cat, said TM, choosing to tentatively accept that Veggie did, in fact, got it. We've got Maurice Meowpunty around somewhere too, but he's not as big a fan of people. I'm not sure I'm people, she said. Anyway, they're not actually ours, not originally, like. We were testing this idea we had for catnip-scented microwave meals. We used to have a microwave before it blew up, and they just showed up and they just sort of stuck around since. They have been adopted by the cats. Never did get around to actually selling that one, Veggie piped up, throwing the tablecloth over the toaster. I'm guessing that's one of their inventions that actually worked then, if the cats actually arrived. It immediately caught fire. He gave off a sigh of mild exasperation and wandered back over to the table where there lay revealed a second plain white and shiny tablecloth that had been hidden under the red and gold fabric. He yanked it out with less precision, sending paper fluttering across the room, and tossed it atop the conflagration. With an underwhelming pfft, the blaze died down. Lol. Microwave the cat. No! We're not microwaving the cat! Is this a good idea to microwave this catnip? Evidently not. Although I assume that they didn't blow up the microwave by putting the catnip in the microwave. They probably blew up the microwave by putting it in tin foil first. Do not put metal in your microwaves, kids. Good names, the girl said, watching Mitchell Furcoat, the cat, weave his lazy way across her lap, around TM's ankles and into the warm nest of many envelopes by the bin, where he buried himself and disappeared. What about yours? TM asked. She looked blank. Name, I mean. She bit her bottom lip for a moment, then clicked her tongue. Ziggy is fine, she said unhelpfully. Although, you know, this is Aladdin Sane, the one after Ziggy Stardust, and all that. TM shrugged. Most people don't, she conceded. You must have an actual name, TM reasoned. Like, one that's yours and that? It's kind of long, she said, and was sort of hoping to leave it behind, to be honest. Fresh start and whatnot. But it makes fancy sparkles. No, microwaving kitties. No microwaving kitties. But, Bryony, I want to put Pop-Tarts in the microwave without unwrapping them from the metallic wrappers. No! That is not Bryony approved, therefore you cannot do it. It was also a problem to your general health and the structural integrity of your kitchen. TM nodded thoughtfully. Ziggy it is. Veggie lifted up the white sheet, smothering the embers of the heated bread, releasing a cloud of thick black smoke. Balls! You once did it and it worked. I don't suggest doing it again. Also, I really don't think the metallic wrap around Pop-Tarts are actually metal. I think you're kind of okay with that, but I probably wouldn't do it again anyway. TM heard him splutter from behind the sheet. The smell of merrily afire stale cake carbs filled the flat. Oh, not good, said Ziggy, watching wide-eyed. We probably should go outside or something, TM suggested half-heartedly. I think it's all right, Veggie said, tentatively peering at the covered conflagration. The glossy sheet seemed to have done its work. No more unsolicited flames swinging up. Veggie hummed for a moment, then glanced at TM with a curious look. Bed sheet, tablecloth, whiteboard, fire blanket? He wondered. TM shrugged. Said Ziggy, looking between the two of them in interest. Oh, TM said. Yeah, so we invent stuff. Oh, murmured Ziggy. Stuff? Like, Veggie explained, like, TM? Examples of stuff. TM cast about for something suitable. The flat was full of their useless creations, but none of them seemed sufficiently brilliant enough as an exemplar for their creative ability. There was the coaster, set with wheels for maximum coastage, but that usually resulted in spills, or the revolving lampshade, which ensured that the entire room got the same amount of light, but it turned out the light didn't work in quite the way they'd been thinking. Eventually, TM pointed at the white sheet covering the toaster. Ziggy gazed at it obligingly. Well, he began. We invent stuff, like that. Ziggy blinked at him. It's the Veggie TM bedsheet tablecloth whiteboard. TM continued, wandering over to give the sheet a fond pat. Multifunction fabric in the shape and shade of your choice. Serves as a tablecloth, snugly bedding, or reusable drawing surface, whichever you need at the time for ultimate convenience. So the cat girl is named Ziggy now. Yes, her name is Ziggy. Veggie pulled a crayon out of a pocket and doodled over the tablecloth, helpfully illustrating the whiteboard part. Also, maybe, fire blanket, he said. Except that sounds like a potential insurance thing, and we can't be doing that. In essence, TM said, we come up with ideas for broadly useless stuff that people might hopefully want to pay us lots of money for, and then we submit them to a board of faceless, merciless bureaucrats. Veggie tapped his chest with a fist and raised a finger to the sky, and hope that they might invest some money so we can make the things at bigger scale, sell them as, like, actual products or whatever. Then we wait, then hopefully profit. That's the theory. Fire blanket, fireproof blanket. Have you not seen fire blankets? They're usually in, like, office buildings and stuff like that. You're supposed to hide behind them, hide under them when there's a fire. Like, put them over your head while you run away. Not that we're all about the dollar, Veggie told Ziggy with a wise nod. Annoyingly, turns out it's quite an important thing to have in today's society. And since we can't beat the wealthy, we'd really rather like to join them, if only so we can eat something other than bread every now and then. Our ideas have to be mass-producible and cheap to make too, TM continued. The BTW is literally just some fabric that we ran through the laminator thingy and then branded with as many. So they put a blanket through a laminator to make a fire blanket. Impressive. Then branded with as many uses as we could come up with. Ziggy nodded thoughtfully. She hopped to her feet and trotted over the countertop, which the toaster sat, and brushed a few crumbs around with a finger, and as if positioning toy soldiers in formations. What's your best one? Our best, TM trailed off. Idea. Well, he said, leaning in, we've been working on this thing I like to call the octobike. Out of all things, I never expected the story to be these three people. They are some people. Veggie gave TM a look. It was a look that, to most, would have looked like a fairly normal look. Perhaps a little unusual in the degree of contortion Veggie could achieve with his eyebrows. Veggie gave TM a look. It was a look that, to most, would have looked like a fairly normal look. Perhaps a little unusual in the degree of contortion Veggie could achieve with his eyebrows, but which to TM very clearly meant, don't you dare tell her about the hecking octo bike. Are laminators those things you put your face on to print? No, that is a photocopier. A laminator is what you put card in to give it like a plastic wrap. But it's a bit shit, really. TM finished. Huh, said Ziggy, and turned to Veggie. What about you? Veggie swiveled in his chair and pointed proudly at Mitchell Furcoat the cat, who was lazily pawing at the door. Hear him scratching? Veggie asked. Ziggy shook her head. No, you do not. That's because Mitchell Furcoat the cat, over there, is wearing Veggie TM feline claw silencers. Tiny little plastic sheath type things, like them tips what you get on scissors so kitties don't cut themselves. And all this practical value available inexpensively and in a range of colours including smooth purple. You put plastic tips on his claws, Ziggy repeated, sounding somewhere between fascinated and appalled. Isn't that a bit cruel? Said Veggie. I mean, I hope not. It's definitely cruel to whatever poor git has to actually put them on a cat. What don't wear none, though. He gestured to TM, who held up a scratched forearm. Michael Furcoat the cat, he's okay with them, sorta, we think. Are they still con men if the products work? No, they're not really. They're just terrible. Welcome, normal size phantom, to this somewhat perplexing book. Which is really hard to read out loud because it has too many. I can see what they're doing. And this feels like a book that if I was reading in my head and could read over and over, because there's long sentences with a lot of commas and stuff like that, which I think is fine, again, if you're reading over it in your head. But trying to read it out loud for the first time without practice, this is really tricky. This is a really tricky book for me, actually. I went to see Saw the TV Glow and had to go out of town to a completely different movie theater. Yeah, damn. Hope it was good, though. I hope you had a good time. Isn't your book like that? No. No, I definitely don't have the same. This is definitely a different issue. Anne-Marie's meow pointy? Ziggy asked. The cat? TM finished for her. Oh, they all have the title the cat on the end. That's important. We've never actually managed to get them on him. I think that when they offended his pheromonological world view somehow. Oh, we may not be able to continue with this book after this stream. This is really tricky. Makes sense, Ziggy agreed, knowingly. I might have to find a new book. So, said Veggie, here's the deal. Ideas. Ideas, Ziggy concurred. She thought about it for a moment, then tilted her head. Ideas? We need 'em, Veggie said, tapping his crayon on the table top. Hello, Orion Pax, welcome. If reading Finnegan's Wake... Try reading Finnegan's Wake like this if you want a real challenge. I do not need a real challenge. This is a challenge enough. This book is a challenge. Oh, thank you for the follow, Orion Pax. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. We need them, Veggie said, tapping his crayon on the tabletop. If we don't come up with no ideas, we don't get nothing to sell. TM's usually the one who comes up with actual decent stuff, and then we sort of, I don't know, make it happen through sheer force of will. Really? Ziggy asked, eyes twinkling. I like the sound of that. Why is reading such a challenge if you know what they're saying? Because I don't know what they're saying. I didn't practice it. I don't know what words are going to come up straight away. And if reading was so easy, I would not make all these mistakes that I do. And like I said, with this, it's not just the reading that's the issue. It's the reading it good for you guys. Because the long sentences and pauses and stuff, obviously, I'm reading through a sentence. I don't know when it's going to end, and I'm trying to read it in a way that makes sense for you guys. But if there are pauses later on and I read it in the wrong rhythm, then it can not be as fun for you guys. And that's the challenge of this book so far. That's been a horrific challenge for this one so far. Veggie lifted up the bedsheet tablecloth whiteboard again. Then, when no smoke billowed from underneath, whisked it up and slung it back over the dining table. And most of the detritus that still sat thereon, giving the impression of an extremely lumpy table under the sheet. Let's brainstorm, he said, and then the toaster made a noise like a panda sneezing, and a huge cloud of black, yeasty vapour mushroomed out and filled the room. Balls. Briny reading run-on sentences while not breathing challenge. No. We should probably go outside for a bit, TM suggested. Smoke is bad, Ziggy agreed. Mitchell Furcoat popped out from under his cosy pile of paper and buggered off out of the open window, as if by way of agreement. I joined the Discord. I feel like I will love my time here in your community. Oh, I hope you do. Thank you for joining the Discord. I really appreciate it. Everyone, you should also be joining the Discord. If you're not already in the Discord, there is a link in the description. You should go do that. Have fun. It's a great place. It's a bit quiet, but you know what? That's fine. I don't really bug people much with ats, so you should join it. It'd be great. Veggie huffed in frustration, threw his crayon down, causing it to break in two, and strode out of the door with an attention-demanding whine. Ziggy gave TM a quizzical glance. He shrugged and then followed Veggie outside, with significantly less melodrama. Outside turned out to be airier than inside, because outside, and smelled a bit better, even before accounting for the noxious bread fumes currently circulating around the flat. What's so bad about being outside? Ziggy asked, rhythmically prodding Veggie in the face as they wandered down the street. His stoic expression didn't shift once. He just prefers not to, if he can avoid it, TM told her. You were outside earlier, she pointed out. He'll go out when he needs something from the world, and then that's his outside time done for the day. TM explained. What a mood. It's a bit like having a pet, in that he needs a walk every now and again, but then the rest of the time he just licks his balls and does basically naff all, he sighed. He's toilet trained, though. Or you have an idea, how about a hypno toaster? It makes you think that you're a toaster and speak in the first person. Wait, why is the FBI here? I wonder why. Sorry, Spy Void. I can't, have fun at the FBI place. Now that's a mood. It is a mood. It's absolute mood. Ah, Ziggy, said Ziggy. So you do have a bathroom. I was looking for one. I was thinking if you didn't have one, I might have a problem with that. What with staying forever and all. She fixed TM with an earnest stare, bright eyes boring into him, with the spark lightning bolt painted on her face, hands on her hips and her powdery blue suit. It was still somehow very difficult to not take her seriously. The hell is going on in this book right now? It's I don't blame you for not being able to follow greatly, Orion Pax. So, I will give you a small recap since you have not long arrived. So we have the characters TM and Veggie, who are inventors, incredibly terrible inventors, who have never managed to sell a thing in their lives, and they have come across Ziggy, who is looking a little David Bowie, and is actually from space, and has decided to follow them around, because she has nothing better to do. And that is it. That is the summary, so far. She's the girl from the stars. Yeah, she said it's oh no, it's Ziggy Stardust is what she's supposed to look like. Sorry, not David Bowie. I got confused. That's why they call her Ziggy. It's behind the filing cabinet on the other side of the table, TM said, carefully ignoring the last bit. We couldn't be bothered to get another door after. He paused, remembering the testing phase of a device he'd been provisionally calling the ultimate hinge motion in smoothener. Anyway, we put some wheels on the filing cabinet, and now it's a sliding thing that you can think of as a door. Most things in our place do more than one thing. Nothing interesting in the universe only does one thing, Ziggy said absently. Hold on a sec, would you? Look, this look isn't really working out as well as I hoped. Said TM. Their trundling down the street came to a halt. Veggie, too, ceased his steady, incessant, harumping stride and glanced around with interest. I'm just gonna... 2 secs, Ziggy said. Then she pulled a hairpin from her crimson quiff, causing it to sink down limply across her face in a bright red wave, hopped down an alley perpendicular to the road and disappeared. Where'd she go? Veggie cheeped, peering after her. Somewhere, presumably, TM murmured. Swear hair doesn't work like that. A moment later, a young woman with dark purple hair, light caramel skin, and soft eyes with corners accented like swallows' wingtips emerged. ... TM, said TM, somehow. I feel like this is more me, said the young woman in Ziggy's voice. She was wearing dark jeans and a gaudy tie-dyed t-shirt, topped off with a leather jacket. Are you? TM leaned around, looking behind her. I am. She looked at him questioningly. She looked at him questioningly. The face was different, but the expression was her. TM looked down at her feet, upon which were dark grey high-top sneakers, and then back up at her face. He was almost sure Ziggy hadn't been carrying a change of clothes on her. He was definitely sure she hadn't taken them from the flat, because they definitely hadn't had any clothes like that just hanging out, and definitely not in her size. He wondered why he was fixating on the clothes rather than the fact her face was completely different. I highly doubt his real name is TM. Are you Ziggy? Like, still the same Ziggy? He asked eventually. Yeah, of course, she said, tucking a few loose strands of hair behind one ear. It stuck out like a dolphin's fin clearing the surface of the ocean. Well, I guess I'm technically not, in some sense, but you can still keep calling me that. I'm still the same me as I was before. I think depending on how you define me and whatnot, just trying out a different look. You're still hot, Veggie piped up. You think everyone's hot, TM said over his shoulder. Veggie made a dismissive, nonchalant noise like a wood pigeon settling down on a comfortable bench. So it wasn't just the Bowie after all, Ziggy mused, to which both TM and Veggie felt they probably ought to respond. Neither did, so they trappist along after Ziggy as she merrily resumed, strolling in the direction they'd been going. What actually are you? I have a small feeling that Ziggy will have a monstrous real form, since she can change forms. Potentially. Very, very potentially. TM asked after a while. More because he felt someone ought to, rather than because he particularly needed to know the answer. I'm me, said Ziggy. Her new eyes, twinkled. I'm a star, baby. Baby. Yeah, you said something like that, TM mumbled. But, like, you're not making it up. Ziggy flicked her tongue off the roof of her mouth thoughtfully. It's complicated, she said. Well, it's not really, but it's probably not super easy to explain or believe. Is this some hippie thing? TM asked. Like how we're all from the stars eventually? He put on his best Carl Sagan voice. Made of star stuff and all that. Ziggy considered the point. It's not some hippie thing, although you're not wrong. You're all from the stars if you go back far enough, but I'm a closer descendant, so to speak. She sounds like she has the most 80s attire ever. Indubitably. A Tadberry Megatron. Oh, 2 first names. A TM. Makes sense. Yes, star, baby. A man without a riz. Indubitably. TM considered this for a moment. Ziggy scratched her nose. Look, she said. All the people have star stuff in them. Like how all KFC chicken has a bit of secret spicy special sauce recipe. Or all fictions have something of the people who came up with them. I'm just a packet of 100% special sauce. She paused. Well, like 96% after you factor in all the packaging and manufacturing shit. TM blinked. That's a really weird analogy. Sorry, said Ziggy. I'm still getting used to, well, everything. TM couldn't argue with that. So you are literally an actual star who's just dropped down to Earth. No BS. I mean, this... He gestured at her appearance, which none could deny was significantly changed from what it had been only minutes before. It's weird, I'll give you that. It's convincing, I'm just not sure what it's convincing me of. Could all stars change their face? Is that a thing that's always been a thing? 'Cause I didn't know that. He stopped talking and hiccuped. Ziggy came to a stop and exhaled loudly through her nose, one hand on her hip and the other finger tapping against her cheek. "What's an electron?" she asked abruptly. Said TM. "It's a tiny subatomic particle, right? A probability density function, a negatively charged electrical field generator, a fermion." Said TM again. "But if I tried to talk to you about electrons a couple centuries ago, well, not you specifically, obviously. I didn't know you back then. What an electron was. This is... If I tried to talk to you about electrons a couple of centuries ago, even if I tried to explain it, you would think I was making it all up. This is a hard dialogue to say out loud and make sense. Technobabble! Surroundings to start. Please don't give you sunburn. That's okay. We turned down the starness. It's fine. I'm gonna. If I tried to talk to you about electrons a couple of centuries ago, well, not you specifically, obviously. I didn't know you back then. What an electron was. Even if I tried to explain it, you would think I was making it all up. I'm not. Sounds like it isn't Ziggy's first visit to Earth somehow. That's true. She does seem to know a lot about it. There are some things that are tripping me up and frustrating me slightly about this book, I'm not gonna lie. Nowadays, it's a theoretical term, which makes it, in some sense at least, a real entity, right? TM felt like he ought to respond, but even ellipsis began to evade him. Language is meaningless unless it refers. Even if the referent doesn't actually exist, a thing of sorts is brought into reality when you talk about it, if only in your head. Point is, there's a point? The point is, Ziggy repeated firmly, what's the actual difference between terminology and made up? And besides, I could call anything an electron, or I could claim that electrons do exist, but every theory about them so far has been completely wrong. Like they're necessarily something, not necessarily anything in particular, but necessarily not anything that anyone's previously said they might be. Oh my god. It's hard. I like the point they're trying to make. This is something that I sometimes thought about in high school. I was like, but it always says this is theory. Always says theories. So, what if it's just made up? What's the difference? I have absolutely no idea what you're on about, said TM. Veggie yawned. Good, said Ziggy. Forgotten what your question was yet? Ah! This girl. TM nodded. Sweet! She said and carried on. Her head turned in every direction as she walked, deeper breaths taking in as much of the air as she could. Her fingers moved gently as she touched the atmosphere around her, feeling it. TM watched her curiously, staying a few steps behind. He could hear Veggie keeping up with them, scuffing his nose across the pavement. Scuffing his nose across the pavement with every step. Scuffing his shoes! Why did I read that as nose? What the hell? I was so confused. I was like, how is he scraping his nose on the floor? Because it says shoes, Bryony. It says shoes! A squirrel jumped out from a bush and went careening across the road, weaving around the wheels of a trundling car. Ziggy looked enthralled by it. Veggie spotted it too. TM heard him mumble the word Frogger. So let's say you're a star, TM said. I very much am, Ziggy confronted. What are you doing? Like, being a person and that. Ziggy turned to show she was walking backwards, continuing to move smoothly along the road without ever stumbling or coming near to walking into anything, and turned her gaze on him. He wasn't entirely sure how he felt about it, but it was a gaze that remained indistinguishable from the one she'd had back when she was still Bowie cosplaying as Ziggy. At least there was some continuity to the whole thing. You said it, she said. Being a person. Veggie bumbled alongside TM, scrunching his face up in what seemed to be an attempt to make himself look as confused as he possibly could. Right, he said. I think I'm gathering something here about you being literally a star and all that. We just went over it 5 seconds ago, in your earshot, TM said. But I can't say I totally follow, Veggie finished undeterred. Ziggy sighed. You don't really need to, she said. Just think of me as new to everything and eager to try it all. So, you were up there, TM said, flickering his eyes towards the heavens. And you were being a star and all that, and now you're down here and you're being a person. That's basically it. And this works how? Ziggy humphed. Stop trying to reduce stuff down to parts or how it works. Just take it as what it is. As a whole thing. You'll feel better for it. TM thought about it, but didn't manage to formulate a response before Veggie interrupted. So let's just take it as read that you have, in fact, beamed down to Earth or whatever you did, and this is the first day of human Ziggy doing people stuff. Yes, people stuff, Veggie proposed, kicking a stone into the bushes. Much obliged, Ziggy said. And you picked us to be your guides on how to be people and live a people life, Veggie spluttered, as if it were the most ridiculous thing in the world. I mean, us? Why not? Ziggy shrugged, a laugh like melody slipping into her voice. You're as qualified as any other person, so just show me the world, and I'll owe you pretty much everything. You'll owe us? Veggie repeated, turning the phrase over in his mouth like a fresh piece of super minty gum, or a coin he was testing for gold. All right then, make us rich and we're even. Fair play, said Ziggy. Quid pro quo and whatnot. She scanned around for a moment, and then her gaze settled on a man scrolling casually by the other side of the road with a plastic bag full of groceries. Right, got it. She sauntered over to the happy shopper, beckoning TM and Veggie to follow. They did so, scurrying through the light traffic. What's she doing? TM whispered. I don't know, Veggie replied, eyebrows furrowed. Maybe she's going to invite this guy to join Veggie TM Limited. I thought we were TM Veggie Limited. Veggie shrugged. Maybe she's going to invite him to be a junior partner. That's not even a real position. And she doesn't have that kind of authority. Do you think she knows that? Heck. Hi, said Ziggy. Mark said, holding his bag a little tighter. I'm not buying, donating, whatever it is. Nothing like that, no worries. She reassured him, beaming. He relaxed a little as she struck. Her finger punctured the flimsy plastic bag, tearing it in two. Fruit, instant noodles, and other sundries cascaded, spilling into the pavement like a jackpot from a slot machine in which the prizes were all overpriced groceries. What the hell? Said shopping guy, with which TM secretly agreed. This upstanding young man here, Ziggy declared, was on his way home after a hard day in a very respectable job, having used his hard-earned money to procure necessary goods for his lovely wife and beautiful children. She picked up an item from the selection of falling purchases by way of demonstration and found herself brandishing a copy of Tits magazine aloft. "Imagine, that's baby's food," she said chirpily. "There's a magazine literally called Tits?" Veggie demanded of the hapless shopper, who nodded reluctantly. "We could have come up with better than that." A look of realization swept across his face as he turned to TM with a dawning excitement. "We could come up with better than that." "No," said TM, Veggie deflated. Anyway, Ziggy pressed on. This charming and professional young fellow was on his merry way back to his abode when, oh no, tragedy struck. He finds his goods scattered about. She flailed her arms about with theatrical gumption, demonstrating the sheer horror of the situation. So what does he need? Why, as Veggie Ziggy TM, she's added her name and I love it. "Bag puncture repair kit, of course." "A what now?" said TM. She wagged her finger in his direction. "Why, a Veggie Ziggy TM bag puncture repair kit, of course." "Oh, of course," said TM, who was rapidly forming the impression that it might have just been best to go along with this sort of thing. It wouldn't take much effort since Veggie's whole lifestyle was broadly this sort of thing. "One simply takes the damaged bag," Ziggy declared, demonstrating. Shopping Guy didn't try to resist as she tugged the thin plastic from his confused grip. "Repairs it like so. I mean, we obviously haven't got a prototype yet, but you get the idea. Don't worry though," she confided in the Shopping Guy. "The product is going to be totally..." She winked and held her hand up in an OK sign and clicked her tongue. "Oh, good," said Shopping Guy, TM giving him a reassuring nod. "And then, with a little Veggie Ziggy TM magic, the bag is repaired." Ziggy almost sang, holding the limp piece of non-biodegradable plastic in the air, as if sacrificing it to the gods. "Huh," said Veggie. "Here you go," Ziggy said, stuffing the bag back into Shopping Guy's hands, with a friendly pat on the shoulder. "Sorry about your stuff, but we're making money." This is wild. He nodded dejectedly, making no effort to pick up his scattered groceries. The trio left him there. Ziggy led the way with a cheery bounce, heading for Veggie and TM's flat. "So, just to be clear," Veggie said, "your idea is that we design a thing for repairing holes in shopping bags?" "Yep. Single-use, disposable shopping bags." "Well, yeah. Just because they're single-use doesn't mean that one use shouldn't be as enjoyable and stress-free as possible." Veggie stopped in his tracks. "TM," he declared, "I think she might be a genius." "You're serious?" "Heck yeah," said Veggie, the corners of his mouth moving further from each other as his grin widened. "This product is absolutely useless. People will buy it in their thousands." This reminds me of does anyone, when the CES conference, the KES conference comes around, which is like a tech conference thing, and a load of like inventors and stuff come around and they show off their stuff. I tend to follow that because it's always interesting to see what pops up and what people are using tech for nowadays, and it's so funny what they use it for, and it's so goddamn useless. There was like a hairbrush that like kept track of like how much hair came out when you brush, and it's like, that is so useless. It's stuff nobody asked for, nobody needs in their life, and that's what this reminds me of. TM thought about it for a moment. You might actually be onto something, he admitted. And Ziggy burst into a wide smile. Awesome, she said. Now look. Let's go make some money, yeah? Said TM as she strolled back down the road with her arms swinging enthusiastically. You know we can't just, conceive of something and make money, right? He piped up. He almost felt reluctant to puncture the atmosphere that had both Ziggy and Veggie grinning happily, that between them they had more exposed teeth than the outside of a shark than he'd ever seen outside of a shark documentary, but somebody had to point out these things. Are we talking cat house level of stupid inventions? Yes, sometimes. Yes, 100%. And yes, they are officially con artists now. Nah, said Ziggy, waving a hand dismissively. Tim Berners-Lee will just give us a ring and be like, oh hey, is that Ziggy? I made the internet, but I just realized that your idea is better, so here's a bunch of cash. That doesn't make sense, TM started to say. Then she shook her head. You know what? Yeah, he will. Ziggy patted him on the back, smiling almost gleefully, then carried on her merry way. F yeah, she said. Wild. Wild book that I don't know if I'm vibing with, but I'm hoping people are enjoying anyway. Oh my god, TV! They didn't make it all the way back to the flat before Ziggy delivered on her promise. Tim Berners-Lee never called, but Veggie and TM weren't going to complain about that. She turned sharply off a few roads before turning for the flat, and strode straight into the city's public library. TM didn't hear what she said to the young man at the desk, with whom Veggie had a brief fling a few summers back. But somehow she was able to wander to an unoccupied computer, plonk herself on the chair, and set straight into logging into Veggie TM Inventors Incorporated business accounts. Did we leave the logins lying around? TM asked under his breath as he and Veggie stood watching over Ziggy's shoulders. I wouldn't trust me not to, Veggie muttered back. She hummed quietly as her fingers blew across the keys, entering information with blistering competence. Within a few moments, she'd submitted the bag puncture repair kit to an online portal where, in TM's experience, it would sit for months without ever being viewed, and then have about 5% chance of attracting funding for development and eventual retail. TM and Veggie went to leave, but Ziggy just sat, gazing, beaming at the screen. After less than a minute, TM's phone buzzed. He pulled it out of his pocket and peered at the screen. Ziggy leaned her head back, smirking upside down at him. That's absolutely flipping ridiculous, TM said after him. I keep wanting to call him Tim because it's TM and my brain just wants to put the I in the middle. But what about the I? What's it? Veggie leaned over and saw the screen. He blinked. That's never happened before, he said after a few moments. It's good? Ziggy asked, grinning wickedly. It's ridiculous, TM said again. Absolutely, Veggie agreed. Ridiculous. Ziggy flipped around the plastic library chair, crossing her legs and draping an elbow over its back. So, can I be a junior partner and live with you? And also live with you? Are you serious? Veggie asked, giving her a hard stare straight in the eyes. Uh-huh, yeah, uh-huh. Veggie held her gaze for a moment, then picked her up off the chair and embraced her. She gave a gurgling gasp like a surprised chicken as he lifted her up. You're a bloomin' senior flippin' executive CEO! That's what the heck you are! Woo! Ziggy said breathlessly as Veggie's arms squeezed the air from her lungs. You're in, TM agreed, high-fiving one of her flopping hands. For good. Thanks! Ziggy spluttered, then wiggled herself up and out of Veggie's bear-like grip, and alighted herself softly on the chair. She promptly hopped down and resumed her languid seating position. I think I did pretty good. Can't lie about that. Veggie trumpeted a blustering hoot and waved his hands in excitement, drawing disapproving glances from several of the library's patrons, and tried to hug her again. She whipped up to her feet and stepped deftly behind TM, who patted Veggie on the hand to calm his rampaging hug mood. That's the most awesome thing that's ever happened to us in our whole life, Veggie said, directing his words over TM's shoulder to Ziggy with total seriousness. It's usually like nothing, provisional paperwork, and then if you're lucky you get a little bit, and then you see if it sells, more paperwork, and then if you're really lucky you get a bit more. But I've never heard of that much up front! It's ludicrous! He finished his rant and took a few deep breaths, looking as if he might fall over with the sheer excitement of it all. It's almost unbelievably convenient. They didn't make a sale, Void, but they do have, seemingly, a big investment, which is more important than a sale. TM summarized. Ziggy grinned. Well, it's awesome, Veggie spluttered. I mean, this is the first actual money paid to Veggie TM. Sorry, Ziggy TM. He corrected, when TM's eyes rolled pointedly at Ziggy's direction. Because I'm so heckin' chuffed that I'm gonna put your name in there twice in, ages. Ziggy beamed, leaning over, balancing her chair deftly on two legs, to give Veggie a friendly punch in the arm. Happy to be of assistance, she said, and Veggie made an affronted squawk. Of assistance? Of assistance? Veg, said TM. Yeah. I think she knows she did good. All right, Veggie instantly deadpanned. He took Ziggy's hand politely and gave a clumsy curtsy. Not sure I ever properly introduced myself, so pleased to meet you. I'm Veggie, two-time regional Guitar Hero champion, and founding partner of this most lucrative and innovative business enterprise, and I look forward to many profitable years together. Ziggy, said Ziggy. Star, person, friend to cats. I want that to be my intro. Bryony, star, person, friend to cats. Awesome. She humphed happily for a moment, then shivered. Does anyone else? Veggie and TM looked at each other and made the same bemused faces, then looked back at her. You okay there? TM asked. Her gaze wandered round the large open space of the library, skittering across the walls until it settled on a widescreen type TV up in the corner. Whoa, she said, looking and sounding as if she were spacing out somewhat. That's a TV, right? That's TV, agreed TM correctly, but not without concern. He glanced back at her. Oh, were you like... His eyes flicked back to the screen. Oh, hey Veg, it's that show you like. Veggie bounded towards the TV, bouncing on his toes. Awesome! Survival's on. Sweet! He called back towards them, attracting several more disapproving looks. They should rename it to TM, Ziggy, Veggie and Associates, then later rebrand to just TZV. They probably should. That would be good. That would roll off the tongue a little nicer, that's for sure. You know it's not really called that, TM said, attention focused on Ziggy as she slowly pushed herself to her feet, wandering after Veggie. He logged off the computer just in case someone stole their identities right as they were actually about to achieve something. It should be. Veggie sulked. Ziggy and TM joined him, looking at the screen. A copper-haired woman in a long, slim-fitting khaki shirt with a thick leather belt, practical but fitted trousers, and sturdy-looking boots was busy hacking away at an enormous tree branch with a sharp-looking machete. "This tree," she said, which none of them could hear, as the TV was muted, but luckily there were subtitles, "is a redwood." And again, I pressed the wrong button. We're supposed to scroll today. No buttons. She gave the camera a knowing look, as if checking her audience were following along. "It's incredibly old and incredibly beautiful. And now it's going to help me in my quest for survival." "Ah," Veggie declared, eagerly pointing at the TV and tugging on Ziggy's sleeve. "I know what happens next." In a short sequence of cramped zooms and fancy transition shots, the woman fashioned wood from the tree into a long, elegant bow and strung it with what was apparently real animal guts. "There's like a subscription? Oh, you're behind the thing. There you go. Hello. Thank you, Priol, for the subscribing. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm sorry you're behind the book." Thank you so much. I appreciate it. "There's like a super awesome montage song playing right now," Veggie whispered to Ziggy. Sure enough, the subtitles read, "Catchy montage music." It's a common thing with accounting and firm laws, because who wants to say Price Warehouse Coopers LLC instead of PwC? It makes a lot of sense. The presenter pulled a set of sharp arrowheads from the pouch on her belt, which seemed to have pouches and straps for just about everything. In a series of shots which alternated between sped up and slow motion, she fastened them to shafts cut from more of the tree's wood and hand-fletched with crisp feathers. In a few seconds, a small pile of homemade arrows lay before her. The directions, like, kinda pretentious, Veggie admitted. Slow-mo and high-speed in the same sequence. Come on, but nothing against you, we forgive you, he told the woman on the screen quickly as she drew and loosened an arrow in a wide shot, hair blowing in what was probably artificial wind. The TV channel changed. "Ah," Veggie moaned, pulling a face at the person whose image was now filled on the screen, a weatherman pointing at some area of either high or low pressure. TM was never sure which symbols meant what, but it was apparently significant. The new channel must have had a lower budget for its image and washed out an old-looking... I was enjoying that. TM glanced at Ziggy, who was utterly transfixed. He didn't think she'd breathed for a while. She didn't think she'd taken a breath in a while, which probably would have been a little better. "Who are these people?" she muttered. Said Veggie, as if it were the dumbest question he'd ever heard. "That was Regal Orion, only the best wilderness survival presenter in the entire cosmos. And that is Altair, local weatherman and extremely minor celebrity. Not that anyone cares about him." Ziggy was trembling. TM realized, as if with great exertion, it was as if she were tensing all her muscles as hard as she could, turning herself into a rock-like dense solid object, as if she thought that something might pull her away if she didn't resist. "I am," she said after a moment, "incredibly attracted to these people, I think." Said TM. "Fair enough," said Veggie, with a nod of understanding. Well, on one count at least. Raging bisexual. Oh, Ux Geeked, thank you for following. I'm sorry I didn't notice in the last 10 minutes, but I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for getting me to 40! 40 followers. 40 followers. Happy. TM looked back at the TV. The weatherman, Al Tyler, was staring into the camera, saying something about the atmosphere. Maybe it was too intense, having someone appear to be standing right at her, spouting reminders of the cosmos, the stratosphere, the world beyond. Not at all as it should be meteorology, Tyler said via the subtitles, gazing blurrily at TM. Is there a flavour of bisexual other than raging? There's the hot mess. Is that the same? There's probably flaming bisexual, raging bisexual, messy bisexual. 10 away from 50 already. I know, it's great. I'm really happy. We're doing good. We're doing good. It's good stuff. I'm now conflicted on following you on Twitch or YouTube now. Why choose? Do both. Why not? There are the many flavors of briny. The YouTube and the purple YouTube. The Twitch and the red Twitch. What am I up to? Just appear in different chats, keep me on my toes. But we'll put that right. TM frowned at him. You're right, though, for real, Veggie was saying, a hand on Ziggy's shoulder. Said Ziggy. Then she blinked and shook her head, and then she gave the two of them a small smile. Yeah, sorry, it's hard to explain. Do both so she can get sponsors on Twitch. Hopefully, at some point. You never know where I am. I'm teleporting around the internet. Probably just Twitch. Fair dues. I am going to get to a point, when I get to that 50, I'm going to need to ask like 5 of you just to go over to Twitch and just have a chat. Because that's one of the affiliate things as well, is that you need like a certain amount of people to have been in chat at some point. So I'll need you guys to do that. But I'm sure you'll do that at the time. Don't worry about it right now. But when we get close, I'll need you guys to do me a heckin' favor like that. What am I up to? Yeah, sorry, it's hard to explain. No worries, Veggie said knowingly. You just witnessed your first ever celebrities of the televisual net waves. That's a pretty big dealio. TM narrowed his eyes at his business partner, just to let him know he wasn't convinced. You sure you're okay? He asked Ziggy. I think so, she said. Let's just go home. She's very overwhelmed by the TV. She walked slowly away, her partners following after a moment of confused hesitation. You think she's okay? TM muttered to Veggie, not wanting Ziggy to hear. Veggie shrugged. She made us more money today than we've made in probably literally years. If she needs a minute to get over that, I'm more than happy to give her one. TM rolled his eyes and punched Veggie in the upper arm. I doubt that's it somehow, he said. She's probably just a bit overwhelmed. Yeah, said Veggie as if it was obvious. Overwhelmed with how amazing our triple partnership is. I can talk about anything I want about on Twitch as long as it's fun. Yeah, as long as you're not going to get me, banned, because that's kind of not... I'm trying to get, paid, not banned. But, I mean, I'd prefer if you kept it to the stream relevant, that kind of stuff. But, like I said, at the time, we're closer to the time. We're still 10 away, which is exciting! I can't believe we're 10 away already. I didn't think it would grow this fast. Haven't even been streaming up on Twitch for that long now. But, yeah. I think it's only been a month. Crazy. Crazy. TM sighed, watching Ziggy as she led them out of the library and down the road towards the flat. Her arms hung by her sides, but her fingers were outstretched as if trying to make some sort of contact with something solid. We'll see, he said quietly as he trotted up to catch up to her. So look, he said, I think Veggie and I are decided that you can, like, stay. Forever or whatever. Thanks, she said, watching her feet on the pavement. So you don't have to worry about that. That's good. She paused. Really good. I mean, thank you. TM leaned in, trying to get her to look at him without overdoing it. In the end, he just sort of wobbled in her direction. Are you hiding? Crazy how a VTuber model gets you more followers than if you were a modelless VTuber. Oh yeah, the art of the VTuber model is a whole thing. Being honest, I'm just follow you on Twitch and no YouTube because YouTube is more for vids than streams for me. That's fair. Each to their own. I'm glad that I have Twitch now, so the people like you who just prefer Twitch can watch me there. It's nice. I'm waving my arms because I can't find the word, but I really want arm tracking. That would be so good. You know how much I twitch. And not the purple YouTube twitch, the twitch. The physical movement. But yeah, I'm glad I have that appeal now. Appeal. I think that's the word I'm looking for. I can appeal to a wider audience. She looked sharply up at him, then back at her feet. Sorta, she admitted quietly. If you're really a star, he said, then mentally kicked himself. Not the time for that. I mean, you're a star, but you're here, so isn't someone going to want you back? She bit her lip and sighed. It's a possibility. They passed a shop window crammed with TV screens. On every one of which was repeated the same image of Al Tyre. Either the picture had frozen, or he was sitting very still, looking down the camera as if he was trying to see the audience on the other side. TM gave the window the finger, ushering Ziggy past. She shook her head a few times, trying to dislodge something. Let's just get home for now, okay? He muttered. Ahoy, abode! Called Veggie, strolling past TM and Ziggy. TM glanced up and realized they were, in fact, home. He and Ziggy followed Veggie through the door and up the stairs, and into the flat. We get to see all the emotive hand gestures going on behind the scenes. It would be great. I would really love to do that. I've tried to conceive of a way I can do that. Chase may have given me a way I could potentially do it, but I may have to cover some of my... It's tricky. I would need multiple cameras. But it's possible. Maybe one day. I don't know. It's a bit jank still, though. But that's fine. Hey, you know what time it is? It's nearly time to end the stream. We've only got about 2 minutes of this stream. Embrace jank. I should embrace jank. I should. It is nearly the end of the stream, so I'm going to talk about next week. Next week, on Tuesday, I know it's normally a Ruiner stream. I know. But Normal Size Phantom guessed correctly that it is also International Tea Day on Tuesday. So I would love to tell you about what I'm going to do that day. We're going to do a kitchen stream. I have somewhat managed to set up something of a setup downstairs, so we can go into my kitchen, and in that kitchen we will make tea, obviously. But I remember when we were playing Minecraft once, and we were talking about all sorts of crap, and I don't remember who came up with the idea in the chat. I should really write these things down when I write down these ideas that you guys give me. But someone said something about like a spice rack, but with tea. And that's what we're gonna make. I have a spice rack downstairs, like a spinning spice rack that we don't use. We do not use at all. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna clean out and empty all the bottles, and then it was your suggestion, Boris? Yes. Well, that's what we're doing Tuesday evening. We're gonna make a spinning spice tea rack, and it'll be great. So look forward to Tuesday, everyone. That'll be our exciting stream for this month. I'm trying to do like an exciting different thing every month, and that is May's thing. Other than that, we will probably be playing some Inscription, some... What are the other games? We've got Higurashi to play as well. I'm kind of worried about starting Higurashi as well, because obviously we've started Inscription, I've started Hades. But I don't know how long I'm going to play Hades, because I don't know how well that one's going to do, because it's such a popular game that my streams might get a little lost in the riffraff. I look forward to the VOD. It coincides with my morning deliveries and meetings, so I won't be able to watch it live. Oh, that's sad. So I might start Higurashi anyway. So probably Inscription, Higurashi, T-Stream, and Hades. That is probably what we're looking for next week. I will deliberate on each little universe whether I want to read it more. It got a little bit better once like Ziggy started coming in. I feel like she breaks up the banter between the two of them. It's very believable banter, and I can see why reading this maybe in your head would be easier, but it's very difficult. I hope chat doesn't disappear on Tuesday. I mean, I hope so too, but we'll see. I didn't really want to replace the Ruinous stream, I'm not gonna lie, but you know, I don't choose when International Tea Day is gonna be. So, you know, and I had to celebrate it because it's International Tea Day. It's very important. So, we shall see. We shall find out if Chad actually enjoys me existing in my kitchen and doing random shit. Should be fun. I look forward to it. I have a nice background, all stuff. They should have consulted you. They should have. They should. I'm just that important in the universe that the day the whole world celebrates tea should be of my choosing. Definitely. I'm not important. Anyway, that has brought us to the actual end of the stream. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Thank you to anyone who watches the VOD. Thank you to anyone who lurked. If you have not already, I would highly appreciate it. If you would... let's do Twitch first once. If you're on Twitch, if you could press that follow button, I would really, really appreciate that. That would be wonderful. We just got to 40, so if you could just give me that 10 more, that would be wonderful. Love you. The whole world, not a holiday on my calendar. It's not on anyone's calendar, but it is international, so it's the whole ass world. It's not really a widely celebrated holiday. It's one of those... I spent some time looking up special days in the year. You know, when you get, like, International Cat Day and stuff like that. I spent a while looking those up because I thought it would give me good stream ideas. Anyway, what was I saying? And if you're on YouTube, I'd highly appreciate it if you could leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. And both of you, if you fancy it, can join the Discord. I really need to, like, advertise that one more. Join the Discord. The Discord's good. The Discord's great, and everyone's nice. And they like to show pictures of their food. I get a lot of pictures of food. We see Trevor, like, you could also see pictures of a crocodile or an alligator, I'm not sure which. And a turtle as well right now, which is cool. It looked very heavy. And if you have some money burning in your pocket and would like to support this VTuber who's trying to do a thing with her life and live creatively through her things, achieving her dreams, you can do it in many different ways. If you're on YouTube, you can join the membership where you can get emotes, exclusive streams, exclusive streams, access to a Discord channel, and merch discounts. You can join the Patreon where you get short stories, exclusive streams, merch discounts, and free books. You can donate via Kofi, which is, kind of the same as a super chat, except it has better rates for creators. Or you can hop into the merch store, where you can find ebooks, first edition copies of my books, that you cannot find anywhere else. Bookmarks, key rings, t-shirts, notebooks, a very soft pillow with my face on it, and a sticker roulette where you can get stickers of my emotes, but you don't know what you're going to get because I random roll it for you, because that's more fun. Please join the Patreon. I want other Mungo fans to talk to. Yeah, read me books. Read me books. And if you don't want to read my first book, there is a playlist of me reading it online here. And then if you don't want to read the second book, you can go into Kofi and you can purchase a link to a playlist, which is me reading my second book. So, you can get the first 2 books with me reading them. And then if people are interested and want it, I will put the effort in to do the third one. But at the moment, it hasn't really been all that profitable, so we'll see. But that is it for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Thank you. I will see you tomorrow for, I'm not sure which out of those many games I listed, but it will be fun, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much, everyone. And if you don't want to read the 5th book, you're out of luck. Well, it's the 3rd, 4th, and 5th book I haven't got any reading for, so, But anyway, thank you so much for coming. I had fun. I hope you had fun. This has been Brandy Rose Smith, Life Have Been Library. Goodbye.